See, this is what I always loved about the Borderlands games, is how they know how to make it interesting and set the tone for the video game that you are literally about to play. Also, like just like with any Borderlands, they show you the Vault Hunters that you're gonna be playing as. Like one of my favorites, Rafa with his Peacekeeper cannons that literally come out his back and shoot everything that's in front of him, and his arc blades, which do electrical damage. Always fun. Then we have Amon, who basically has a forward shield that absorbs all frontal damage. Then he goes straight Viking mode with his elemental forge axis, which is so badass. Then we have Harlow, who uses her flux generator to put enemies in cryo. Then she can finish them off with her chroma accelerator that shoots unstable pocket energy. Then we got Vex, our siren, who instead of being called a siren is literally called a witch, because she can summon her phase specters or her phase reapers. And welcome to Borderlands 4. All right, now we gonna start off with the story. Let's get to it. It's like in any Borderlands game, you start off with a narration from Marcus Munitions.
Here, the planet Kairos. Heard of it? Of course not, and for good reason. For
Opening, you're captured by the Timekeeper, a tyrannical asshole who rules over Kairos. After that, you pick one of 4 Vault Hunters. Basically, think of them as gun-toting treasure hunters looking for the Vault. After that, you're rescued by your fellow Vault Hunter named RJ. But before you two can escape, RJ is possessed by the Timekeeper and is forced to kill himself. After that, you awake on the beach on the planet Kairos, and once there, you meet everybody's favorite irritating-ass robot named Clap. I mean, you basically travel through Kairos, meeting a ragtag group of characters like Rush, the leader of the Outbound, who apparently is a really good baker because he really liked baking protein bars. And then he wants you to help him stop Idle Soul. Then after that, you actually meet up with a scientist who used to work for the Timekeeper named Zarda, who wants to help you take down the Timekeeper for all the horrible things she did and try and redeem herself.
One of his lackeys. You were his favorite.
None of that matters now. You need a plan.
So, after you basically defeat Idle Soul, you head up into the mountains, and that's where you meet Defiant Coder, the rebel group called the Augurs, and he needs your help to obtain the Irelium Relic. So after attaining the Irelium Relic, Coder sends you up to the mountains again, which leads you to a siren named Amara and her pet Hermes, and she's actually from Borderlands 3, which is actually a pretty cool touch. And she's looking for Lilith from Borderlands 1 on Kairos. Then the two of you actually go looking for Lilith, which ends up with a fight with a madman named Vile Lecter. And you end up actually finding out RJ from the beginning, who helped you break out, is actually still alive, and now he's evil because Lyle Vector actually experimented on him.
I'm no siren. RJ? But I'm dead. Right. You heard the rules.
And after defeating Lyle Vector, you end up in a desert where you meet another Vault Hunter for Borderlands 3 named Zane. And you even meet that Southern Belle from all the Borderlands game, Moxie. And she's actually running a bar part-time strip club. And you help them stop the Ripper Queen, Callus. And actually, after the fight with Callus, one of the cool things you get to do is go into space and go rescue Lilith from the phase dimension with the help of Zane and Amara. And that actually leads to another fight with Callus, the Ripper Queen, in her final form. After you defeat Callus and rescue Lilith, you and your allies storm Dominion City, which ends in a final battle with the Timekeeper and his final form, and then you are finally able to free the people of Kairos and get access to the Vault. And the game actually ends on a high note, and you get one last narration from Marcus Munitions.
They have a way of screwing up your plans. A Vault Hunter is more than a warrior.
And then the credits roll. But right after that, we get one post-credit in-game cutscene, and then when you finally enter the Vault, you meet Lilith's future self, and she tells you that something else is coming.
This is a spark. You cannot stop what's coming. But with it, you might survive.
Know what? I guess that's gonna be DLC at the end. But then she give you this weird relic called a spark, and then she just disappears. And that's more or less the end of the game.
Think we got what we came for.
So now let's get into the boss battles, which mostly all of them are pretty unique. First, we got Idolater Soul, who uses corrupt energy to damage you. Make sure you stay on the move, and when he drops these spikes down, you grapple hook the bio canisters to destroy the shell to make him more vulnerable. And make sure you shoot the green growths that's on his body to do crit damage. And then more or less just rinse and repeat and you can beat him. So now one of my favorite bosses in this game is actually Lao Vector, who was actually some mad deranged scientist who went mad, I guess, researching the phase dimension. And he has really unique, so you have to really dodge his spectral walls, and he summons a bunch of his like spectral hands, and they shoot energy, like some type of spectral energy at you, so you gotta constantly be on the move. And you gotta make sure you shoot the crystal above him, and when his front part open, you shoot him. Then the second part of his fight, you actually needs to stay on the move too, because now he can teleport and use spectral walls and use the same arms. And he has a really kill shot like ability, which he clears the entire map. And really just make sure you stay on the move, make sure you watch out for that, and then you should be able to beat him. And next up we have Callus, the Ripper Queen, who is actually one of the easier of the bosses you fight. I mean, really, all you gotta do is watch out for the mines and the bombs that come out her giant legs. And be careful of her fire attacks, because they kind of have like secondary things that come out and then that come back to her, so be careful of that. And then her second fight, it's basically more the same. She got more of the same abilities, but now she has a tail and she's a lot more mobile. So honestly, for both fights, I would recommend you constantly be moving and shooting, and you should be able to beat her. And last but not least is the Timekeeper. Now this final boss is really challenging. For starters, he starts out with 3 health bars. You really need to make sure you got the right weapons to deal with those health bars while he's shooting lasers from every which way, and he's teleporting, and he has an ability like a flash bang that blinds you, and then he starts attacking you. So you really gotta be on your toes when you fighting him, and make sure you constantly moving and paying attention to what you're doing and constantly shooting at him. It would be my recommendation for the first tier of his fight. Then you have the Timekeepers in his actual final form, and this fight is really challenging because not only do he still got all the attacks he had from the first time you fought him, now he has a bunch of different attacks, and he can teleport, and he's moving around at really high speed. So this one is gonna really test you more than the first fight. And then it's a point where you get his health down low enough and he puts you in the air. Make sure you use your grapple hooks to grapple onto these little triangles that's floating so they can turn into platforms so you can shoot at them. And then make sure you move in even with that, because he's gonna be trying to attack you. And then after all that, and if you do it right, you should be able to beat him and finally beat the game. So now we come to the gameplay part of the Borderlands 4. So basically, the core of any gameplay in Borderlands is the looting and shooting. But this time you're in an open world doing side missions, the main mission, bounties, patrols, just basically what usually you can do in any other open world game. And I have to say the shooting feels really good as it's ever been in this game. And that's always been one of the things the Borderland games always excelled in, was the shooting. And I mean, the shooting is tight, it's responsive, it is fun to kill enemies, like watching enemies burn to death or watching them get dissolved by acid. One of my favorite things to do is the blowing up enemies into pieces or shooting them in the head and watching their head basically explode. And just like in any Borderlands, they give you more than enough guns to deal with your enemies. I mean, one of my biggest complaints about the guns in this, they really do get pretty samey after a while. And a lot of the guns are just more the same, just with better stats. But one of the cool things they do with those guns to kind of mix it up a little bit is they combine the different gun maker manufactured parts. So like you get a torque shotgun that shoot rockets, but it'll have a Jacob part, which when it crits, it actually ricochets to other enemies. Or you have a theater gun that'll turn into legs, that'll grow legs, and when you throw it, it'll actually follow enemies and explode, but it has a Hyperion part that actually gives you a gun shield, and when you shot at, it blocks the damage and it makes your gun even stronger. So those are some of the cool things they do to kind of mix it up so so it won't feel stale when you start getting guns from enemies and missions and everything. It'll keep you wanting to play. So what was your favorite gun combination? Hey, let me know in the comments. So the loot part of this game is just like it in any Borderlands. You loot from chests, enemy, bosses, completing side quests, completing the main missions, or doing missions on the bounty board like patrols, bounties, and some other things. But the game also rewards you for actually exploring the map for hidden chests, and they usually got some of the best loot I've come across. So I got some of my best loot from Rift Champions. So you'll see these bubbles on the map and you enter them and you get a random boss fight. And I have to warn you, it's a pretty challenging boss fight, so be ready and make sure you have your best gear on because these bosses are a pain in the ass. And they send a bunch of other NPCs after you. So yeah, be ready. And the other way to get good loot in this game is they have these chests on the map that's glowing with red chains around them. And you basically, it's like a survival. You keep getting hit with an onslaught of enemies. And you basically got to kill all the enemies that they send after you. And depending on what enemies you fight, it can be challenging. And other times it can be a breeze. So, I mean, it just depends on where you are in the map. And like basically once you kill all the enemies, the chains turn green and unlock. And they give you really good gear from those chests, so be on the lookout for them. I would do them any chance you get. So one of the new gameplay mechanics they've come up with is actually giving you a grapple hook, and I really wanted this to be good. Like I would be able to grapple all around the map, not on everything, but at most things. But honestly, outside of most boss fights, it's pretty useless. They don't even give you a whole lot of chances to use it for mobility, and you only get to use it in certain areas, and even then, half of the time they don't have things you can grapple on, and even using it in a combat, it's pointless. Throwing barrels do so little damage, it's not even worth using, to me. And this is to me, really, they should have let you grapple on more environments, because there were a lot of times in combat, being able to use my grapple hook would have actually been pretty nice. So when it comes to the end game, there isn't a whole lot to do right now, but one of the things you can do is you can find these hidden vending machines called the Reese's Black Market, and these vending machines have legendary gear in them. So I will find them when you can, and they usually disappear, so you won't find them in the same place twice. And one of the other things you can do is find one of Moxie's big encores, which she lets you fight bosses you already fought before, but they're just harder now, and they have some type of random buff. Like this boss I'm fighting now, he's leaking corrosive puddles. So, and you get some pretty good loot. So, it's worth the time. And last but not least, one of the big things you can do is do wildcard missions. And these are basically playing missions from the main game, but this time the enemies are harder and they have like different buffs. Like one of the first missions you actually play, the enemies are shielded and they regenerate health really quickly, and they leave behind this like black vortex that sucks everything in. And every enemy has it, and it was a pain in the ass to do. But at least I can say the loot was pretty decent. But then after that, you unlock Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, and you basically start at level 1, and you got to complete Ultimate Vault Hunter challenges to increase your rank. And as you increase your rank, the loot will get better, but the enemies will get harder. But you are able to turn down that level at the main title screen if it's getting too hard for you. So my final thoughts on Borderlands 4, it was a really fun game. I enjoyed the story. It was just the classic get a group of ragtag badasses together to stop an evil tyrant. The gameplay was fun. The looting and shooting will never get old for me. The guns are cool. I like the creative way they combine the different gun manufacturers. The classes offered a lot of variety and different gameplay styles, so I really did like that. Not gonna lie, the endgame doesn't really do anything for me. I'm sure some people like it, but not me. But what did you think of Borderlands 4? Tell me what you think about the game. Let me know down in the comments. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe.